Hi, I'm Nishi Patel from Northampton Accounting, and in today's video I just wanted to talk about why sometimes it can be dangerous to hire self-employed people in your business. By this, what I actually mean is there are certain roles in your business that an employee could do, but for whatever reason, if you've decided to bring someone in on a self-employed basis whereby they give you an invoice for the time they're actually working for you, then that's where some of this risk happens. So what HMRC can do when they actually detect that someone's working as a self-employed person for another person in a business is they can come along and make sure that the right amount of taxes are being paid. So straight away there's a bit of a risk there because people who are self-employed tend to pay less tax, and from HMRC's point of view they're getting less tax in terms of national insurance, but they're also missing out on their employer's national insurance element of it as well. So it's from HMRC's point of view, they almost view it as tax avoidance. So if they're actually going to want to look at the arrangement that you've got with this person that's working for you in your business, then they're going to try and see if it's what they call disguised employment. So someone who's got all of the responsibilities of an employee, but they're actually just being made to work as a self-employed person just for the tax savings. And if HMRC go through this process and they find, well, actually, to all extents and purposes, this person is an employee, then they can actually come to you as the deemed employer and ask you for the tax that they've lost out on. So it can be a bit of a tricky one, and there's a lot of grey area here, and the HMRC tests to work it out aren't always that conclusive, but it can be a lot of hassle. One of the other issues is if for whatever reason that self-employed person doesn't actually pay their tax, then HMRC can actually come to you and say, well, you, to all extents and purposes, you are employing them, you're responsible for actually paying their tax, so we want that tax money off you. So what you can end up with is a bit of a substantial tax bill that you've got to pay if you get caught out, and then HMRC would also expect the associated penalties. So the point of this video isn't to say that employing self-employed people in your business or having self-employed workers in your business is wrong or you shouldn't do it. But there are a few things you can do to actually protect yourself. So one of the first things you could actually do to protect yourself is if you've got anyone working for you on a self-employed basis, you can always ask to see their tax reference number. At the very least, you then know that they've actually been registered with HMRC and they are expected to file a tax return. Whether they declare your income on that tax return is a different thing, but it's quite likely that if they've got to file one, then they probably won't be breaking the law and they won't be dishonest about it, so that might give you a bit of peace of mind. One of the other checks you should actually do is just have a look into your insurance, because a lot of the time the wording in it can specify whether the insurance applies to an employee or if it applies to a third-party worker, so it's very important to make sure that you're always covered. I know a lot of businesses, especially businesses that rely on zero-hour contract workers, they do often employ people on a self-employed basis, and where this is happening, it's really important just to make sure you're getting the right type of invoice from them. It's all above record, you're paying into their bank account rather than doing it cash in hand. There's just a few common sense things a business owner can do to try and actually reduce the amount of risk. If you're still really worried about it, the one guaranteed way to completely protect yourself is to actually ask that person to work through their own limited company. Getting a worker to work through a limited company does give you an extra degree of protection, although depending on how much work that person's doing, it's not always practical, but it's always an option. If you want to find out a bit more about this or how deemed employments or artificial employment works, then please get in touch and I can give you a bit more information.